So my final question is, if you are going to come back, what might you expect?
Of me or of the world?
To come back as?
Me. I would like to come back as me. I mean, I really would. I can't think of anybody else I'd like to come back
Do the
as.
whole thing all over again?
Yeah. I love my life.
Imagine being a Hollywood icon who lights up every screen she touches, yet quietly pays a heavy personal price for all that fame. That's the real story behind Goldie Hawn, the golden girl whose charm, energy, and talent turned her into a full-blown legend almost overnight. But the cameras only showed part of the picture. Behind the smiles and laughter, Goldie's real life was just as intense, dramatic, and emotional as any role she ever played. From fast-burning romances to moments of deep heartbreak, her journey has always balanced glitter with grit. Fans stayed hooked for decades, watching her move from youthful flings to her iconic, long-lasting love with Kurt Russell, a relationship that rewrote Hollywood rules. Now at 79, Goldie is pulling back the curtain and opening up about the quiet pain behind her divorce, revealing a side of herself most people never expected to see. She made it clear when she said, "You think just because I'm a movie star, I don't have feelings? Well, you are wrong. I do have feelings. I'm an actress. I have all of them." That raw honesty hits hard and reminds everyone she's always been more than just a smiling face. Goldie's early years laid the groundwork for everything that followed. Born on November 21, 1945 in Washington, D.C., she grew up in lively Tacoma Park, Maryland, a place bursting with culture, energy, and possibility. Even as a kid, she stood out with a wild imagination, sharp humor, and a drive that couldn't be ignored. Her parents, Laura and Edward Hawn, saw the spark early and made sure it never dimmed. She was always putting on little performances at home, loving the attention and thriving in the spotlight. Dance became her escape and her safe place, especially ballet, which taught her discipline, emotion, and control. By the early 1960s, New York City came calling, and Goldie answered fast. Training at the prestigious Martha Graham School under the legendary dancer herself, she learned how to blend feeling with precision, setting the stage for a career that was about to explode. A sharp-eyed talent scout spotted her spark right away, that mix of charm, beauty, and razor-sharp comedy that couldn't be ignored. One opportunity changed everything when she landed a role on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, a culture-shifting TV show that blasted her straight into the spotlight. With electric energy and a laugh people couldn't forget, Goldie instantly became America's favorite face on television. Almost overnight, her sketches turned legendary, replayed and talked about everywhere. By the late 1960s, she wasn't just famous, she was everywhere. But behind the bright lights, fame brought pressure that tested her nerves and her identity. Hollywood tried to mold her, push her, box her in, but Goldie didn't fold. She stayed real, stayed grounded, and stayed true to herself, and people felt that authenticity loud and clear. While her career was exploding, her personal life was just as intense and way more complicated. Balancing non-stop work with any sense of privacy felt almost impossible. Still, her family stayed close, keeping her steady when everything around her moved fast and loud. That support system became her anchor when the headlines got heavy. Her love life, though, was anything but calm. It was fast, fiery, and full of emotional twists. One of her earliest whirlwind romances with actor Bruno Bang quickly turned into a public spectacle. Cameras watched every move, every smile, every stumble. Even though it didn't last long, the relationship left its mark, helping shape Goldie's emotional strength and thick skin in a brutal spotlight. Through every turn, flashbulb frenzy, and nonstop chatter, Goldie kept pushing forward. Her story became one of grit, growth, and refusing to let fame run the show. That determination helped lock her legacy as more than just a star. She became a survivor of the system. Goldie's first marriage came soon after, tying the knot with Gus Trikonis, a Greek-American actor, director, and choreographer born November 18, 1937, in New York City. Their romance sparked in the late 1960s just as Goldie's career was taking off fast. A shared love for dance and art pulled them close. And on May 16, 1969, they married in a beautiful ceremony in Honolulu, Hawaii. For a moment, they looked unstoppable, Hollywood's golden pair glowing under the spotlight. But fame strains even the strongest bonds. By April 9, 1970, they went their separate ways. Still, both came out swinging. Goldie captured an Academy Award for Cactus Flower in 1969, sealing her place in comedy history, while Gus continued carving his path as a respected creative force. Their time together remains one of those unforgettable chapters that shows what happens when two creative forces collide and leave a lasting impression. It was a relationship that shaped both their personal paths and professional outlooks even after it ended. Then came Bill Hudson, and their love story kicked off in the most unexpected way possible. During a flight in the early 1970s, as the plane was getting ready to land, a simple conversation suddenly took off. Sparks flew fast, and what started casually turned into a full-blown whirlwind romance before anyone could blink. Bill, a musician from the well-known Hudson Brothers band, was already gaining attention on TV and in music, while Goldie was dominating Hollywood with her bright energy and free-spirited vibe. Their connection moved at lightning speed, leading to an engagement in 1975. On July 3, 1976, they tied the knot in an intimate ceremony at Bill's family home in Tacoma Park, Maryland, surrounded by close friends and family. The wedding was low-key, warm, and deeply personal. No flashy spectacle, no over-the-top production, just real love and real emotion. Even at the height of her fame, Goldie chose simplicity, making the day a true reflection of who they were together. Their life as a couple was full of ups and downs, but it also brought some of the most meaningful moments of their lives. They welcomed their son, Oliver Hudson, on September 7, 1976, followed by their daughter, Kate Hudson, on April 19, 1979. Parenthood brought joy, laughter, and a softer side to their public image, even as they balanced busy careers and family life. On the outside, they often look like the picture-perfect Hollywood family, smiling on red carpets and at public events. But behind the scenes, life was pulling them in different directions. Goldie's career continued to soar higher and higher, while Bill struggled to find the same momentum in music, creating tension no smile could cover. Eventually, the pressure proved too heavy, and they divorced in 1982. Still, their story didn't turn bitter. They remained dedicated to co-parenting Oliver and Kate, showing up for school events, birthdays, and major milestones. Their commitment to their children never cracked, proving that even when a marriage ends, family can still come first. Over the years, Oliver and Kate have spoken openly about both parents with real warmth and appreciation. They've consistently shared gratitude for the love and support they received growing up, making it clear that strong family bonds can survive even after a split. Their words show that respect and care didn't disappear just because the marriage ended. But when it comes to how Goldie and Bill remember their relationship, the story's sharply split. Goldie has repeatedly described their marriage as strained by jealousy and insecurity. She said that Bill, much like her first husband Gus, struggled with her rising success. Looking back, Goldie once explained that the core issue was that the two men she married could not handle the pressure of having a wife whose career was soaring higher than theirs. Bill, on the other hand, stayed mostly quiet for years until releasing his memoir, Two Versions: The Other Side of Fame and Family. In it, he presented a very different version of events, directly challenging Goldie's narrative. One of his most startling claims was that shortly after their wedding, Goldie suggested an open marriage, seeking freedom to explore relationships beyond their union. According to Bill, that idea created deep tension and became a turning point in their relationship. He also accused Goldie of reshaping the story of their divorce, both publicly and within the family. In his memoir, he voiced frustration, saying she painted him unfairly as a husband and father who failed to show up. In one interview, Bill said he had lived for years under the weight of Goldie controlling the public narrative of their time together. He also took issue with how Goldie positioned Kurt Russell, her longtime partner, as the central male figure in their children's lives. Bill felt that this framing pushed him into the role of the villain. While their accounts clash, both sides reveal how messy, emotional, and complicated relationships can become under fame's spotlight. The truth usually lands somewhere in the middle, showing that every split has layers shaped by personal views, emotions, and timing. Even after the dust settled from her divorce, Goldie's love life stayed firmly in the spotlight, and headlines followed her wherever she went. Still, she moved through Hollywood with her trademark charm and fearless independence, refusing to slow down for anyone. While the public stayed locked in on her relationships, Goldie stayed focused on herself. She was determined to win on her own terms, both professionally and personally. That mindset set the stage for what would become one of Hollywood's most talked about and long-lasting partnerships. When Goldie and Kurt Russell connected in the early 1980s, the energy felt different right away. Unlike her earlier fast-moving romances, this bond was built on respect, humor, and real understanding. No rush, no pressure, no need to prove anything to the outside world. They skipped flashy ceremonies and big public moments. Instead, they built a life that actually worked for them. Their relationship blended playfulness, trust, and steady support, giving Goldie a sense of balance she hadn't experienced before. Without traditional wedding bells, their commitment still spoke loud and clear. Together, they learned how to move through Hollywood's chaos without letting it control their home life. Goldie often made it clear that communication, laughter, and mutual respect mattered more than gossip or headlines. That approach helped their bond stay strong while everything around them kept shifting. At the same time, Goldie never stopped leveling up as an actress. Her performances became sharper, her comedic timing tighter, and her dramatic roles deeper and more powerful. Even as the industry changed, she stayed relevant, proving that real talent and authenticity don't fade. All the while, Oliver and Kate grew up watching their mother juggle career, love, and family with confidence and heart, learning firsthand what strength and independence really look like. Goldie made sure her children understood that growing up in Hollywood didn't mean giving up values, kindness, or self-respect. She showed them how to stay grounded, independent, and strong, even when life feels loud and chaotic. Humor became a survival tool in their household, a way to breathe through pressure instead of breaking under it. Behind the sparkle, Goldie's life wasn't always smooth or easy. Fame brought non-stop attention, public judgment, and relentless gossip. Every rumor felt bigger than life, every misstep magnified for the world to debate. Still, she learned how to flip challenges into lessons and turn heartbreak into quiet strength. Fans saw the laughter, but few ever saw the emotional battles she handled away from the spotlight. Her journey became one of growth and reinvention, learning from love, learning from loss, and learning how to protect her heart while still living boldly. Goldie built a life that balanced freedom, family, and fame, proving it's possible to thrive without losing yourself. From her early days as a high-energy dancing teen in Maryland to becoming one of Hollywood's most adored icons, her story has always mixed joy, drama, resilience, and heart. A life filled with laughter and perseverance is one worth celebrating. Over the years, Goldie has also found herself at the center of appearance-related chatter. Her natural beauty and expressive face helped define her most iconic roles and earned praise across generations. Still, subtle changes sparked speculation, with some wondering if cosmetic tweaks may have softened the expressions that once defined her screen presence. Even with gossip swirling, her career never slowed down for a second. Her talent, sharp wit, and unmistakable charm stayed front and center, proving real Hollywood magic runs far deeper than surface-level looks. Goldie showed the world that beauty lives in personality, skill, and heart. From her breakout moments on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In to unforgettable films like Overboard and The First Wives Club, Goldie's presence always stole the spotlight, reminding everyone why she became a legend in the first place. As Goldie's career moved into later decades, one thing became impossible to ignore. She wasn't slowing down, fading out, or quietly stepping aside. While many stars from her era struggled to stay relevant, Goldie kept evolving, adapting, and surprising audiences again and again. Hollywood changed, trends shifted, tastes evolved, but her presence remained magnetic. What made Goldie different was never just talent alone. It was her emotional intelligence, her self-awareness, and her refusal to be boxed into one version of herself. She understood that longevity meant growth, not repetition. Instead of clinging to the image that made her famous in the 1960s and 70s, she allowed herself to mature publicly, embracing every stage of life with confidence and humor. Her later film roles reflected that evolution. Goldie leaned into characters that carried depth, vulnerability, and lived experience. The comedy was still there, sharp as ever, but now layered with wisdom and heart. Audiences didn't just laugh with her, they related to her. She became a mirror for women navigating aging, independence, and reinvention in a world that often refuses to give them space. Behind the scenes, Goldie was also making bold choices about her career. She became selective, choosing projects that aligned with her values rather than chasing constant exposure. That restraint gave her power. It allowed her to protect her energy, her family life, and her mental well-being in an industry that rarely slows down. Goldie has spoken openly over the years about the emotional toll of fame. The constant scrutiny, the expectations, and the pressure to always appear cheerful can wear down even the strongest personalities. She acknowledged moments of anxiety, burnout, and emotional overload, especially during periods when her life felt like it belonged more to the public than to herself. Instead of ignoring those struggles, Goldie faced them head-on. She became deeply interested in mindfulness, emotional health, and personal growth. This wasn't a trend for her, it was survival. She learned how to quiet the noise, reconnect with herself, and create inner stability even when the outside world felt overwhelming. That shift didn't just change her personally, it influenced how she showed up professionally. Her performances became more intentional, more grounded, and more honest. She wasn't trying to impress anymore, she was trying to express. And that difference showed. Goldie also made it a priority to break Hollywood's unspoken rules about aging. She rejected the idea that women should disappear after a certain age or compete with younger versions of themselves. Instead, she embraced aging as a badge of experience, not a flaw to hide. That mindset made her a quiet trailblazer for generations that followed. Her relationship with Kurt Russell continued to stand out as one of Hollywood's most unconventional partnerships. They never felt the need to explain or justify their choices to anyone. No traditional marriage, no public declarations for approval, just mutual trust and shared values. Their bond worked because it was built on freedom, not control. Goldie often emphasized that choosing not to marry wasn't about fear or rebellion. It was about independence and respect. She believed that staying together should be a choice made every day, not an obligation enforced by tradition. That philosophy allowed their relationship to breathe, evolve, and stay strong over decades. Family remained the anchor in her life. As her children grew older and stepped into their own careers, Goldie shifted seamlessly into a new role. She became a guide, a supporter, and a steady presence rather than a controlling force. She let Oliver and Kate carve their own paths while always offering encouragement and perspective. Watching her children succeed brought her a different kind of fulfillment than awards or box office numbers ever could. She often spoke about pride, gratitude, and the joy of seeing them become confident adults who valued authenticity and kindness. Public interest in Goldie never faded, but she learned how to engage with it on her own terms. She appeared when she wanted, spoke when she felt it mattered, and stepped back when privacy was needed. That balance protected her longevity and kept audiences eager rather than oversaturated. Even discussions about her appearance became something she handled with grace. Instead of reacting defensively to speculation, she redirected the conversation towards self-worth and inner beauty. She reminded people that faces change because life happens, because laughter happens, because experience happens. Goldie never chased perfection. She chased meaning. That mindset helped her stay grounded while others crumbled under impossible expectations. She proved that confidence doesn't come from trying to freeze time, it comes from embracing it. Her legacy stretches far beyond movies and television. She became a symbol of resilience, joy, and emotional honesty in an industry known for illusion. She showed that success doesn't have to cost your soul, your family, or your values. Goldie's story is not one of flawless triumph. It's one of learning, adjusting, stumbling, and rising again. She lived loudly, loved deeply, and laughed freely, even when the spotlight burned hot. Decades into her career, she remains a reminder that reinvention is power, that staying true to yourself matters more than staying trendy, that happiness is something you build, not something fame hands you. Through every chapter, Goldie Hawn has proven that real legends aren't defined by youth, gossip, or headlines. They're defined by endurance, heart, and the courage to keep growing long after the applause fades. No amount of online chatter or surface-level speculation ever came close to overshadowing what truly mattered about Goldie Hawn. Her joy, warmth, and razor-sharp comedic brilliance carried far more weight than any rumor ever could. Her legacy was never built on looks alone. It was built on presence, timing, heart, and an energy that audiences could feel the moment she appeared on screen. Goldie proved time and time again that real success in Hollywood isn't about staying frozen in one image. It's about impact. It's about how you make people feel long after the scene ends. Decades later, people still talk about her laugh, her expressions, and the way she brought light into every role. That kind of influence can't be manufactured or edited, it has to be real.
And standing right beside that legacy is one of the most enduring, authentic, and quietly powerful love stories Hollywood has ever seen. Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell didn't just last. They thrived in a world that rarely allows long-term love to survive. Their story didn't follow a script, and that's exactly why it worked.
Their connection traces back to 1968, when they first crossed paths on the set of Disney's The One and Only Genuine Original Family Band. At the time, Goldie was still married to Bill Hudson, and Kurt was a young actor just stepping into the industry. Nothing dramatic happened then, no instant fireworks, no headline-grabbing moments. But sometimes the most important connections start quietly. Years passed, lives changed, lessons were learned, and then came 1983. On the set of Swing Shift, a film set during a historic wartime period, their paths crossed again. This time, everything aligned. Both were single, both carried life experience, and both knew exactly who they were and what they wanted. What began as friendship quickly turned into something deeper, steadier, and unmistakably real. Their on-screen chemistry was undeniable, but it was what happened away from the cameras that truly defined their bond. They became inseparable, not because they needed attention, but because they genuinely enjoyed each other's presence. They laughed together, supported each other, and built a rhythm that felt natural rather than forced. One of the most talked about parts of their relationship has always been their decision not to marry. In an industry obsessed with labels, ceremonies, and public validation, Goldie and Kurt chose something different. For them, commitment wasn't about a piece of paper or public approval. It was about choosing each other every day without pressure or obligation. Goldie has explained over the years that freedom played a huge role in their lasting bond. The idea that love should feel like a choice, not a contract. That philosophy allowed their relationship to grow without resentment, control, or fear. And clearly, it worked. Together, they built a beautifully blended family. Goldie brought Oliver and Kate into the relationship, children who had already experienced the ups and downs of life in the spotlight. Kurt embraced them fully, not as replacements, but as a steady, supportive presence. In 1986, Kurt welcomed his son Boston, and later, Goldie and Kurt welcomed their son Wyatt, completing a family built on trust, respect, and humor. Their home life was intentionally protected. While they lived in the public eye, they worked hard to keep their family grounded and private. Laughter, honesty, and support filled their household, even when careers pulled them in different directions. Over the years, Goldie and Kurt brought their real-life chemistry back to the screen in beloved projects. Films like Overboard in 1987 showcased their playful dynamic, while The Christmas Chronicles in 2018 reminded audiences that their spark never faded. Their performances together felt effortless because they weren't acting from imagination. They were drawing from real connection. What makes their story so powerful isn't perfection, it's choice. They chose patience over pressure. They chose understanding over ego. They chose growth over control. In an industry where relationships often feel temporary, they built something lasting by refusing to follow expectations that didn't fit them. Goldie's career continued to reflect that same mindset. She never chased trends just to stay visible. She chose roles that meant something, stepped back when she needed space, and returned when the timing felt right. That self-awareness allowed her career to age with grace rather than burn out. She also became more open about emotional well-being, balance, and inner peace as she got older. Instead of pretending fame had all the answers, she acknowledged the importance of mindfulness, reflection, and personal growth. That honesty resonated deeply with fans who saw her not just as a star, but as a real person navigating life. Goldie showed that aging doesn't have to mean fading, it can mean evolving. It can mean gaining clarity, confidence, and freedom. Her presence became less about proving anything and more about simply being herself. Today, her legacy stands tall, not just as a comedic icon, not just as a film star, but as someone who lived authentically in a system that often rewards the opposite. She built a life that blended love, family, freedom, and fame without losing her core values. And when people look at Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell, they don't just see a famous couple. They see proof that long-term love is possible without rules, pressure, or performance. They see partnership built on respect, laughter, and daily choice. That's why their story still resonates. It's not flashy, it's not forced, and it doesn't rely on tradition. It relies on connection. If this story made you smile, reflect, or see Hollywood relationships a little differently, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you felt something real. Subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. Share this with someone who loves classic Hollywood stories, and I'll see you on the next one.